guys, look who we are with today. We are with celebrity colorist Justin Anderson at this beautiful, gorgeous dpHUE house in the hills in Los Angeles. So today he's going to be sharing a 45-minute tutorial with you guys doing a highlight transformation using Olaplex. So he's going to take you step by step on what he's doing and take it away.
Hey guys, welcome to the dpHUE house. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I love my behind the chair family. I'm doing a little highlight tutorial on my friend here, Alexa. Alexa came to me a year ago saying she never wanted to color her hair, and look where we're at a year later. I'm almost giving her a full head of highlights. So that's kind of how I work. I get you in my chair once and I get you blonder and blonder and blonder. So today it's our third time highlighting her hair. She sat in my chair and showed me her inspo photo, which was Blake Lively in her new movie, and she's super blonde, of course. So I'm like, look at you, Alexa, stepping it up a little bit. We're taking her blonder. So before, I just kind of put in some like nice blonde tips on her, left her super natural up at the top, and today we're taking her just a step further. So I started in the back of her hair, sectioned her into 4, and started working my way up. I just did those nice little ponytail highlights down at the bottom, started back up in here to get some up towards the top. But all of this stuff inside here, I'm keeping all dark. When the hair separates, I want to see all that nice natural depth in there, because that's when you see like those good kind of PC highlights. You want to keep good depth in there. If I go in and do a full head of highlights all the way up to the root in the back, it takes away from all that good depth. So once all these foils are up to the root, I'm gonna go through and kind of tip all of this out. So that'll be where I take different pieces, kind of do the teasing method that you all have seen before, and then we'll kind of lighten up all of those ends. So she'll have those nice, really bright blonde ends, but we'll keep all the depth inside. And like I said, that's just kind of keeps you from having to add more lowlights in. We want all of that to act like the lowlights. It's just kind of like, I'm always mimicking what the sun and the water naturally does to like little kids' hair. And anytime you separate a natural blonde, you're gonna see all that depth in there. So I really like to play off of that. So follow along. I kind of got my back going already. We're working with Redken up to 7, 20 volume in one bowl, 30 volume in the other. I start to move to the 30 as I get towards the last boils that I'm doing, so it can kind of catch up with the 20. And then my biggest thing is making sure that you pull foils as they are ready. So don't leave them on the full time. The stuff that I did at the very beginning at the back of her head, the minute I do the last foil on top, I'm gonna start to pull those back foils out. Because one of my biggest things is just taking the bleach off as soon as it's ready, right? You don't wanna leave it on the full time. So pull it when it hits that color that you like and go from there. If you're not quite ready to rinse the hair yet and you pull stuff in the back, you can always really like saturate it with the Olaplex number 2 to just kind of make the lightener stop working, and then rinse it out when you need to. So here I'm just kind of doing like a traditional highlight, pulling it up almost to the root, kind of feathering it up in different areas, but still leaving a little bit of root, because at the end I'm gonna go in with a Shades EQ, probably something like an 8N from Shades EQ, and we'll kind of melt out the root a bit. We'll hit it on the root and then comb it down through that line, so we kind of have a grown out kind of highlight where it's brighter on the tips, if that makes sense. We initially were gonna do a live video, but we had some Wi-Fi issues, so I'm just here talking to nobody. So my girlfriends here are gonna kind of throw me some questions in hopes that we're answering what you guys are thinking when you're watching this video.
So if Chrissy, you wanna pan over here to the products, this is what Justin is using today, you guys, and here is his formula if you guys wanna screenshot that when you watch this.
Do you have it?
All right, yes, we are good to go, I think. So can you talk a little bit about the size sections that you're taking?
So right now, you know, I kind of just work my way up the head the way that the hair would naturally fall. So in this area, her hair is going to fall down this way, so I go up this way. Will you pull that away for a second, Des? Around the front, when you have a hair that pulls back, like if she was doing a ponytail, it would come up that way. So I go in that section just to make sure that it kind of pulls off of the face. At the end, I like to go through and paint out those little baby hairs at the end, because I don't want to put those real fragile little baby hairs inside a foil, because that's sitting inside the foil, it's just too fragile for that. So once everything's ready, I like to go in and just kind of paint those out at the bowl. So my sectioning just kind of follows the way that the hair falls, if that makes sense. So up here on the top, I use my larger size foil, and we do a horizontal section, kind of space them out a little bit. I like to keep a lot of contrast in there. And then we go in. Alexa has super, super thick hair, so I want to make sure that I really saturate the hair. And like I said before, I don't go all the way up to the root because I don't want it to look like stripiness coming out of the scalp. And I go back in at the end and kind of blend away that root line with a Shades EQ color. I love Shades EQ because it's a little bit more translucent and it kind of perfectly blends the highlights in. So that's kind of why I stay off of the root. And so in here, I'll kind of work my way up a bit and then I'll shoot over to the other side and face frame her there and then get back up to the top.
So did you start in the back?
Yeah, so I started in the back. I did those first few highlights just at like the nape of her neck where when she pulls it up, she'd have like those ponytail highlights. So we started back in here. We did a few around the nape area, worked my way up to there, then came over to the hairline, and now I'm gonna hit on this hairline over here. So I like to section away right in there, come up right around the face, and now we're framing the face for when she pulls her hair back. So I think that this is like the money spot, right? We want to get in there and do like a really, really, really thorough job on framing her face. So I'll take one section right there. I'm going to split it one more time so I have two nice back-to-back highlights, just so we get that real nice pop of color right in there. So there we have that small first section. All these little baby hairs I'm leaving out, right? I'm going to paint those at the end at the bowl. But we go in, we just highlight that. These ones I'm taking all the way up to her face because I want it to really, really kind of frame her face when her hair is pulled back. We take that 20 volume lightener with Olaplex, of course, go all the way up to the root and highlight right there. This previously colored hair, I want to kick out. Remember that all of the hair around the front of the face is super gentle, so I don't want to overlap on those pieces. I don't want to use a stronger bleach around the front. I want to use my more gentle bleach around the front. So here's that next one, right up against it. So we get that good little bit of pop of color right there. Go in all the way up to the root. Even in this area, when I pull it off, even though it's pulled all the way up to the hairline, I still am probably gonna go in with like a Shades EQ, probably a lighter color. Maybe like if I was doing an 8N on the top, maybe I'd do like a 9N around the front and just tap that very root line. I like when things look a little bit grown in, so it just kind of, it's not too harsh right around the face, but I do want that brightness to go right up to the scalp. So we got that first one in there, and then I'll go in an exact same thing right in here. I like to really, really make my highlights kind of back to back right around the front because that's what really helps us get that money piece. And as hairdressers, we're all obsessed with the money piece, right? That's all we talk about. So let's keep doing it, right? Desi, I didn't even say hi to you. I apologize. This is Desi, my assistant. Desi works with me every day here in LA. She gets a little nervous on camera, so I always like to give her a little bit of camera time. You sweating, Desi? You perspiring? I actually really am. This sweater, what the hell am I thinking? It's LA. I posted this funny meme the other day of like Britney Spears sweating, and I was just like, when you jump the gun and try and wear your sweater too early and fall, and it's not quite cool yet. Like that's who I am today. I'm literally like sweating. So I'm gonna take a minute and take my shirt off in a second. All right, any more questions, Haley?
Yes, we do. So if you were not educating through this entire thing, how long start to finish do you think this process would take you?
You know, I like that question because I think that on these tutorials, all of us hairdressers, we kind of watch each other and we compare ourselves to each other, right? And we always want to ask those questions to see how fast am I or how slow am I? What do I need to catch up to? And that really doesn't matter because none of us are in competition with each other. But the honest answer is when I'm doing a tutorial like this and I'm talking a bit, I go a little bit slower, right? To be honest, full disclosure, I have the worst ADD in the world. I don't take Adderall anymore. I stopped taking it. So I have a hard time paying attention. So when I'm talking and working, I move a little bit slower. I don't know why I told you guys all that information, but there you have it. Nobody ever said I was secretive. So when I'm doing this like a full thing and I'm doing a tutorial, it might take me like a little bit over an hour to get all the foils in there. But when I'm in the salon, just doing a normal salon day, doing back-to-back clients, I book 2 highlights every hour. So I kind of got to move really, really fast I try to keep things around a half an hour. And to be honest, when I'm with my clients, I don't do as much chit chat. I kind of tell my clients that, you know, when I'm working, I need to focus more, and that is so that I can keep my speed up. Back in the day when I was building my clientele and I got to spend more time with the clients, I would take a little bit longer, but the busier I got, I just had to keep up with the day, so I had to move quicker. So about 2 highlights every hour is what I try to do in the salon.
So how long, I know you talked about just the importance of making sure that when she's done constantly with the lead shop, how long do you think that she will process for?
So once the foils are on, I leave it on. I watch everything. So every like 10 minutes or so, me or one of my assistants, again, full disclosure, I have 4 assistants in the salon. They work with me every day, so they know my routine. So when we start to get to the top, Desi and I here, little Alexi, my other assistant that you all love, Olaplex knows him, Alexi will come in and start pulling things. And Alexi is not around, so we'll probably have Cameron come in and check. So Cameron will pop in and start to check those back foils, and he'll pull them the minute that they're ready. And the whole point of that is you don't want to leave bleach on the hair for too long. Even if you're not at a place to rinse the hair yet, at least put on, like, saturate the hair in like the Olaplex #2 to kind of stop the process from lifting. Also, if you know you're a little bit slower, there's nothing wrong with that. If you just start doing hair or you just work slower, work with a really low volume, like a lightener with 10 volume with Olaplex in it is going to be a really slow lifting lightener, and you can take your time. Like, don't stress yourself out.
Do you ever put your clients under heat?
I do heat for sure. Water, babe. I do heat for sure. When I need it. But I'm a big fan of letting highlights lift naturally, so if I can avoid heat, I don't do it.
Do you have like a certain rule of thumb if someone comes in with like a darker level, like, especially at the base?
Like as far as like, don't make them blonde?
Like, do you have a rule of thumb about if you have a darker hair clientele like coming in, do you use heat then, or you still like to do
Yeah, I use heat if they have like a hard time with it lifting on its own. And a lot of times I'll use heat when I need certain things to catch up with other parts of the hair. Like if I go through and do a bunch of tips on the hair, we'll grab the diffuser, the blow dryer with the diffuser, and we'll just heat up those tips that we just did to kind of catch them up with the top. Right, Des? Mm-hmm. All right, so we're just working our way up in there. Again, I'm gonna leave a lot of that depth in there so we have the nice contrast when the hair lays down. But remember, I'm gonna work my way up, finish up this like kind of partial top highlight area, and then we're gonna go through and tip all these ends out nice and bright so that she has all those blonde ends. I keep forgetting we're not live, like I'm waiting for the questions. It's like...
Well, I was just thinking, when
I
Justin,
love when you talk. Tell me everything.
when Justin has us put a client under foil, it's by the last foil that he does, and when he does that, he makes us pull the hairline immediately, and all this back here that he started with, we would already have pulled that, and then put the Olaplex #2 on. We would saturate those hair that we had taken out of the blonde or the foil before we put him under the heat. So we'll never put them under heat without pulling the hairline.
Yeah, so we always pull what's already ready, coat it in the Olaplex #2, and then we put the rest under heat to kind of catch it up. So I think the whole moral of that story is like what we were saying, is pulling the foils as soon as they're ready. It always kind of blows my mind when people in the salon will do like a full head of foils. Maybe they've been highlighting for an hour and a half, 45 minutes, and then they take that whole full head of foils and put them under the dryer, let them sit there, and then they let everything process and then just wash it all off at the same time. Because every part of the head lifts differently. I know that like up here on the top, it lifts like in the area where the hair is thicker, it lifts a little bit slower. So I don't understand why that's sitting on the same amount of time as the fragile hairline. So you just kind of want to like stay on top of that, you know? A lot of times too, let's say this whole side area is ready and the other side, and we pulled the back already, we can layer back at the bowl and rinse both sides off, rinse the back, and leave the top to kind of catch up. So that's the one thing like I'm crazy about in the salon is pulling the foils the minute they're ready at the level that you want. I don't like things to go too white. I'm a big fan of things being natural colors. I like buttery golden tones. I don't like super ashy pale highlights. Sometimes it happens, people want it, I get it. It's just not my favorite thing in the world. So I like to make sure that I pull my foils when they're still kind of in that buttery golden blonde stage.
So you were talking about just maintaining like really super healthy hair. What would you send your client home with for like aftercare?
I honestly send everybody home with the Olaplex. Is it the number 2, Des? Why do I forget the numbers all the time?
Number 3.
The Olaplex number 3 is the at-home one. And I send pretty much everyone home with that. I'm crazy about the Olaplex shampoo and conditioner. It's amazing. I put it in my bag and I flew it all the way to Jennifer Aniston to give it to her because she was on a movie set and her hair was getting dried out of it from blow drying it every single day. So I brought the shampoo and conditioner to her before it was even out in the stores, and even she was freaking out about how amazing it felt. So I love that. I also think the biggest thing that people can do when they are highlighting their hair or coloring their hair, one of the greatest things you can do is keep adding oil back into the hair. So I'm a big fan of using a clear, lightweight oil, like my own from my line, the dpHUE line. It's a clear argan oil, super lightweight, but it really conditions the hair. I think that the thing that us hairdressers kind of forget to tell our clients is when you're bleaching your hair, you're pulling all those good natural oils out. When you pull the pigment out of the hair, you're kind of opening up the hair. It's almost like an empty straw, right? The blonder and blonder you go. So you want to make sure that people are adding a lot of oil back into the hair. So I'm a big fan of oil. But remember, like for me, it was so important that the dpHUE argan oil was completely clear, because the blonder that you are, that blonde hair will pick up like a tone, right? So I remember like years ago, there was this really popular hair oil that was amazing, made the hair feel really great, but it had like a kind of golden amber tone, like a dark amber tone to it. And it was making blonde hair really, really brassy. And people couldn't realize what it was for a while. And I was having clients who were coming in, they had beautiful blonde hair when they left the salon, but then a few weeks later, it kind of brought on like this brassy tone. I'm like, that is not my color. Like, I'm not doing that. And sure enough, it was that oil. It had that kind of brassy tone to it. So you want to make sure that you use a super lightweight, clear oil, like the dpHUE argan oil. Also, I really believe that people should not over shampoo their hair. I think we've been taught our whole life to shampoo and condition the hair every single day. And I just don't believe in that. I feel like that's like almost like washing your favorite shirt every single day and wearing it every single day. Like, imagine what that would do. We've gotten this pattern now where like blow dries are so popular. There's a freaking dry bar on every corner, thanks Allie Webb. So everyone's getting like constant blow dries all the time. And I think it's great, because there's nothing better than beautiful hair, right? A blow dry shows off our hair color so well. But when people are blow drying their hair and heating it every day, you don't want to put detergent on it every day. Suds it up, strip all the good oils out, and then put heat on it. So another thing I say is either make your blow dries last for multiple days. I even tell people like a 5-day blow dry is amazing. But I get it, I work out every day, so you have to rinse. So I like using a substitute or an alternative to shampoo, like the ACV rinse, an apple cider vinegar rinse. Anyone on my team can show it to the camera so they can see what I'm talking about. But the ACV rinse cleans your hair without stripping the good oils out. So there's all these little tricks that as hairdressers, we can teach our clients to keep their hair healthier. I really think that because of like Instagram and whatnot, people are going blonder and blonder and blonder. And because of Olaplex, everyone's going blonder and blonder and blonder. So we've got to teach them these little tricks to keep that blonde hair healthy. And I really, really believe in not over shampooing your hair. So the biggest thing that you guys could take away from this is the apple cider vinegar rinse. It's the ACV rinse from dpHUE, the best way to clean your hair without stripping the good stuff out. And then obviously the Olaplex shampoo and conditioner is amazing to do like once or twice a week. So now we're coming up to the front of the hair, right where we're gonna kind of get those nice pops right up front. I'll take my first section and split that in half to make sure I get a nice bright bit of blonde right up there.
So you're taking super small sections?
Yeah, so I take super small sections and then I split them in half. So I split that in half, highlight this one, and then I go right into the next one and highlight the next one right next to it. So I get that nice kind of PC highlight right up around the front. PC, not chunky. We're not trying to be Kelly Clarkson from American Idol. Keep it nice and piecey and bright. So we do that, pull out those ends that have already been lifted, keep them out of the foil. And then we'll go right up to that next little slice and highlight that. As you can see back here, Cameron is already pulling those foils and he's just coating it in the Olaplex because it's ready.
We get a lot of questions about like if you do the bleach somewhere that has like already been like pre-lightened before. What are some tips to just like get it off?
I use Olaplex for that. Like, so if we overlap and we really shouldn't have, I go in and I just like saturate the crap out of it with the Olaplex #2, and it just kind of dilutes the lightener way down, so it's not going to kind of lift anymore. But that's a great way to use Olaplex. I don't know if Olaplex would be mad at me for saying that, but I use it all the time for that. And then also, it's like, don't be shy. If you're sitting with your client and you kind of pulled through in an area that you shouldn't have, like the lightener, just like pull them over to the bowl. They don't know what we're doing. They have no idea what we're doing. Pull them over to the bowl, rinse it off really quick, right, Alexa? You have no idea what's going on in your head right now. You're just chilling. I could start pouring like honey all over your head and you think that's part of the process. But if you want, you can always take people to the bowl and just rinse pieces off. You know, I feel like maybe as hairdressers we get nervous, like if we're taking somebody to the bowl a little bit early, they might feel like a mistake is happening, but no, that's you taking care of their hair. If you know that like a foil is ready, it's already been lifted and you're not quite done yet, take a second, take them over to the bowl and rinse that area off. Like if the back was all completely ready, I would have no problem going to the bowl right now and rinsing all of those back foils off and then letting the top catch up.
So how often would you recommend coming back into the salon?
You know, I'm like the worst hairdresser for that. If you own a salon and I work at it, I'm not your favorite person because I tell people I don't want to see them more than, I like people to go 3-4 months. So I like to give hair color that grows out really, really well. Some of my clients, I say like, don't come back for 6 months. Like, because I don't like to over highlight, except if somebody is a bleach and tone. If you're a bleach and tone, you want to stay on top of your roots because you don't want a big band to come in to take care of. So that would be more like a 4 to 6 weeks. But beyond that, I feel like hair color is getting more and more natural now, and we're so smart as hairdressers with like these nice root blends that we have with Shades EQ. You can kind of dole down the root a little bit or make it much more natural. So the grow out is really, really easy. So I tell people it's just like, whenever you're feeling a little bit blah, come in, but I don't really like a rule, right, Des? No, Des. When did you get your hair done last, Alexa?
I think it was near like May or June. May, I think.
Yeah, look at that. It's like a 6-monther, girl.
Yeah.
So will you be turning her at the bowl?
Yeah, so at the bowl, once everything's off, we're gonna go in there and create like a little shadow right at her root. Probably like with the 8N, like I was saying, which from Shades EQ. If there's any warmth in the hair that I didn't want, I'm obsessed with the NA series by Shades EQ right now. And NA is fabulous for canceling out any warmth in the hair. But Des, we find that the NAs are a little bit darker, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so be careful with that. Like an 8NA is similar to like a 7NA or like a 7N. So make sure that if you want it to kind of be in that 8 world, you could even add a good amount of 9 to it to keep it on the lighter side or dilute it. I'm a huge fan of diluting my Shades EQ with the clear. It's really, really great to dilute colors with clear.
Do you ever have clients come back just to be retoned?
To be retoned? Yeah, they do. You know, it's funny. I pay so much attention to what's happening in hair lately, and I feel like everyone's like toning so much, right? I don't really have a clientele that tones that much other than the roots. So I don't really have that, but like all of these ends down here, when I get them to that really, really bright color that I like to leave it that way. I really like a raw blonde at the ends. I don't like to pull toners through. So I'm really big on pulling at the tone that you want, especially on those ends. So I don't get a lot of like retones coming in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure does. So you have an amazing celebrity clientele that you've built, and we get a lot of questions all the time about how, like, what's your number one advice to someone that maybe wants to start like dipping their toes in celebrity clients?
The celebrity world? Being in LA obviously really helps because most of them live here, right? And then if you are in LA or New York where they are, I really feel like it's one of those things, it's like you just have to like keep trying to collab with people. It's really easy to collab now. I mean, you could find makeup artists who work with celebrities that you want to work with, or you can find a hair cutter that works with the celebrities that you want to work with if you do color, and start to collab. And then I'm really big on people just not saying no, especially when you first start off doing hair. You know, I remember I had just gone on the floor at this really fancy Beverly Hills salon. I was like 22 years old, and it was like 6 o'clock at night, and everybody's heading out of the salon, and we got a phone call to do like a big color makeover on somebody for a movie. And everybody in the salon said they didn't want to do it, but I was like, I'll stick around, like, because I'm obsessed with doing hair. I do it 7 days a week now, and this is 15 years later. But back then I was really excited. So I stuck around and did it, and it was Kirsten Dunst when she was going from red to blonde, like for Marie Antoinette. So I stuck around. It was like my first celebrity client ever. And I think that's kind of what put me on the map as far as blonde hair in LA goes. Like a few weeks later, Vogue wrote about me being like the blonde guy to look out for. And so had I just gone home that night, that wouldn't have happened. So I really think it's all about saying yes, doing favors for people. You know, to be really honest, celebrities, they're used to getting things for free. So sometimes you have to do a lot of free hair to kind of get those big names in your chair. And look, I love myself and I love to make money, but I also know that doing some of those clients in the long run really helps my business, right? That's kind of something nice to put on my roster. You want good names to put onto your resume. So I'm all about doing favors. You know, if there's like a really amazing makeup artist in town who has like amazing clients, I have no problem reaching out to her and saying, hey, you want to come in and I'll do your highlights? Take care of them, and they take care of you. Does that make sense, Haley?
It sure does.
Yeah, wise words from dad, right? I'm
Great advice.
literally everyone's dad here inside this house. Inside the dpHUE house, I play the role of dad, so I can be your guys' dad too.
Yay.
I was born to be a daddy.
So we always get questions about just the consistency of your lightener. Do you mind showing us what your perfect consistency is?
Yeah, so this is perfect timing because Cameron, my boy, just remixed that. I'm a big fan of my lightener not drying out, so I like to keep it more on the wet side. That word's so gross. Moist, wet, nobody wants to say it, but they're perfect descriptive words. But you want to keep it like more on the wet, moist side because then it won't dry out. So I add a bit more developer than you're supposed to. I like when it has that nice kind of shimmer. There's a little bit of sheen to it. It almost looks like a yogurt, right? If it's too fluffy and powdery, it's gonna dry out inside the foil. So I think that's one of my big magical tricks is I like to keep my lightener working and I don't want it to dry out. So I like that kind of consistency. Do you see that a lot, Haley? Or it's all over the place, right? We all have different
It's
preferences.
all over the place.
Yeah.
How about how much you saturate your hair?
The hair, I really try to get in there. Look at that, I'm saturating. Look how good I am at that. No, but it really, you gotta get in there, especially with like somebody like Alexa. She has thick hair. And so you gotta get in there and kind of smush it around, make sure that all the lightener gets in there. But again, I'm like talking my butt off and I'm going really slow with this highlight. But normally when I'm working really fast, I get the product on nice and quick. I go in there and I kind of saturate it. But I have these amazing assistants here who they'll kind of go in and they'll open up foils. And if they see any areas where it's kind of like there's a spot that's not happening, they resaturate it. So saturation is key. Look up in here, I'm keeping that root I'm keeping it off the root because I'm gonna go in after and take like that 8N Shades EQ and pull it down a bit and kind of blend that line because I want it to be a good grown out highlight. But as I got closer to the front of the head, I got closer and closer to the root. So these ones up in here are all the way up to the root. So I want it to be nice and bright around the front and then we start to get more of a natural root as we get towards the back. These pieces here, this is like our money piece, right? We always talk about that. So once these foils are in there, I get kind of neurotic about this area and we start to section these into little sections here and we go in and we tease this hair and we really tip all of that out with the 20 volume and Olaplex. Just tip those out here And the minute that these are ready, because they're already kind of lightened already, so the minute that these are ready, once they start to lift, Cameron goes in and pulls those off. But that's where we get all those nice pops of colors. So this piece in here, just keep sectioning it and tipping those pieces out, because that's where you're gonna get all that brightness. We're gonna post the after photo on my Justin Anderson Color Instagram, somewhere on Behind the Chair, Instagram, Facebook. Like, you'll be able to find the after photo on Glow Alexa's page, but you'll see all this nice brightness right around the front. You guys still want to hear from me? I feel like I just like talked everyone's ear off.
You're doing perfect.
Oh. So right in there, we kind of saturate that, lift that up. The minute we are done with the top, we're gonna go through and check those, because they'll probably pretty much be ready and you can pull those, but it's really important to have that nice, really bright pop right around the front. So I'm gonna section this even one more time. Grab all those ends. Cameron, someone's coming through the door. You can let her in. I still haven't even been to the BTC house yet. I need to get down there.
You have to come.
I know. Do you guys have stuff going on there all the time?
A few days a week.
That's so fun. And then it's also kind of like your LA office.
Yeah, so I go there and work a few days a week, and then
I feel like that's gonna be the future of hair, right? Like, cause even us here, like, I mean, I work out of a house now, and it's like, I love it. I feel like hairdressers are more and more kind of controlling their environments. Like, for me, it's like, I'm a creative person, but I kind of want to I want to keep my energy how I want it around me. So I like to keep good people in here. I feel like the energy of a house is really, really nice.
Is that why you kind of decided to do that with this house? Or does that also go hand in hand with the fact that you have like a big celebrity clientele?
So there's a bunch of different factors. You know, dpHUE is my product line with my partner, Donna Polad. We have this line together. We sell all of our products in Ulta, Sephora, we sell at Nordstrom's now. So we're growing really fast as a brand. But my number one favorite thing in the world, I love doing hair color. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I could hair color 8 days a week if there are 8 days in a week. So I wanted to make sure that I could still work on my product line, but also do hair color. So I wanted to create a space where in the back of this house, there's an office where my team for dpHUE works. We create content here all during the week for the product line. But then I also take all of my clients here. And to be really honest, there was a time about a few years ago before I had the dpHUE house, I was doing all of my salon clients, I was working on the dpHUE stuff, and then I was also driving to all these celebrities' houses to do house calls. And so like I had no free time to myself, so I wanted to create a space that I could work out of where I could do really big celebrities. They could come in and feel like nobody's staring at them. And then I can do my other clients too. So it was kind of for selfish reasons, to be honest. Just to kind of make my schedule a little bit easier. I was driving all over the place. I was in a salon, I was working on dpHUE, and then I was doing all these house calls. So I was like, I want to open a space where I can just kind of have everyone come to me that's really, really peaceful and take care of everything that I need to take care of and get it done. So I thought it'd free up more time for me, but it hasn't. I'm actually here like 6-7 days a week until late at night doing everything. Usually we'll do all of our like social media content stuff during the day, and then at night, like after 4 or 5 p.m., I always will bring in a celebrity client that I work with, and I just focus on them. So it's just been great for my schedule.
Yeah, it makes sense. And we love it here.
It's
Really
cool,
is a
right?
peaceful,
Yeah.
cool environment, yeah.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be working 7 days a week, I'm gonna be in a place that I like. You know, like
Yeah,
there's a
it's
kitchen
perfect.
here, I'm making all my meals between clients. I have my office in the back where I can sit back there and do my product stuff. And so it's been really cool.
Yeah, it's a fun work environment
and the
for
view is
everyone.
crazy.
The view is crazy, right?
Beautiful.
So I think we're kind of good to go on the video.
Awesome.
We really have answered all of our questions. I know our viewers are going to be really pumped about this.
I love it. So we're just gonna finish up here on the top. Then we're gonna pull it all off. We're gonna go in and create that root, like I said, with the Shades EQ. And then after, you guys can go check all of the after stuff and let me know what you think. But be positive, because I'm sensitive, okay? All right, so go look for the afters after. I really, really love my Behind the Chair family. I wish I could spend more time with them. But I'm happy that you guys are here in LA and you have a presence so we can do more fun stuff together.
All the time.
But thanks for checking in, guys, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much.